Hi everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am continuing a series that I have going right now on the Saleabration. I'm calling it Saleabration Showcase. So as the name implies, we're going to try to get through a lot of the items in the Saleabration catalog. I'll probably wrap it up at the beginning of next week because I have to get to my club preview, and there's so many new things in the January mini that I haven't used yet. So if you haven't visited my site before, I offer a lot of online classes. Right now you can get the Glass Studio if you sign up to be a member of my team. My Try It class, which I do 3 times a year. It's my biggest class. It just went out in the mail earlier this week. And in fact, I have a couple more videos of the tutorials for those 10 projects to wrap up this afternoon. So if you're interested in any of that, the link down below the video, or you can sign up for my email or head to my Facebook page. I have things in all the places. So today for the Saleabration item, we are going to focus on 2 things. So the Jungle Pals is free with 50. It's this sweet little stamp set. They just make me happy. She looks like our kitten. We have a black cat who has a lemur tail. So she looks a lot like our kitten, but it is a lemur. But it's a fun little set. It's just the animals. And I know a lot of you towards the end of Saleabration, you're going to like, well, I have everything I need. How much fun would this set be to give to a child in your life? Because they could stamp it and color it in. You could give them a stamp pad and the colored pencils, the watercolor pencils, and it would be a really great little birthday set or a gift for anything. If you're having a party and you want to give it as a prize, super fun. And then free with 100. So to get both of them, you have to spend 150. And remember, if you spend 300 in combined orders, if you combine them with friends or just on your own, you get an extra $30 in free product right now. But for $100, then you can get the dies, and the dies are super cute. On today's card, we are not using the alligator, the tiger, or this stem of leaves here. We're using all the rest of them, so you'll get to see them. So that is today's Saleabration item. I wasn't real sure. I never look at the catalog before I do something, and I wasn't real sure what to do with it because I wanted to get as many pieces on the one card in case I don't have a chance to get back to it as I could. So we're going to use 3 of the stamps, and because we're going to cut them out, I often mount my stamps like this. It's just faster. So these are the only actual stamped images, and I'm going to stamp them in Memento. You're going to get a tiny bit of well, maybe a little bit more of a blend tutorial on this card because we're going to use them in a few different ways. So your options to color these in are endless. Like if you're giving them to a child, I would give them the watercolor pencils because it would be super fun. You could use the pastels. You can use ink pads. I'm going to use the blends. So when you have more than one stamp on, you want to make sure that you get all of them. And the nice thing is that these are getting cut out. But if you see that I inked my stamp upside down, that also helps not get ink all around the edges. So here we have our little characters, and then I'm going to get a couple of flowers out of that scrap. So let's start with, let's color our sloth in first. I thought I'll be real smart and I will keep all the colors that I use on each animal separate, but then I colored the words at the end, and so they all got mixed up. So I think for him, let's go. I think, is this ivory? Yep. Well, I'm going to do blue. Let's do this one first. I'm going to do all of their eyes, just a little dot of balmy blue. These are just suggested colors. They're cartoon animals. I mean, you can color them whatever color you want. You can color them purple. If you're giving this as a birthday card, the child's favorite color is purple. So you do not have to be realistic. In fact, I have no idea what a real toucan looks like. So these two, kind of realistic. This one, who knows? But I'm just going to take my ivory and just give a little swash right here across his face. And because I'm coloring on the glass and not on paper, my colors are going to seep into the paper more and spread a little bit more. So if you've started using the Glass Studio, you get a lot longer to blend, but you have to be careful because the ink doesn't have that extra piece of paper down underneath to go to, so it's all staying on your project. So now I have dark pebbled path. And I'm just going to kind of swish around these edges right there where those 2 highlights of where the Stampin' Up! People artists put the highlights. We'll get those. And we'll just kind of give it a little bit of dark contrast. And then let's go to the light pebbled path. On this one, I'm just going to hit these same places again and kind of make them a little bit bigger. The good thing on this too is we are cutting them out, so if they bleed a whole bunch, it's not going to matter. But once you make a move from coloring with scrap paper behind you to having a piece of glass, there's a tiny bit of a learning curve. So we have that. Now I'm going to take my dark crumb cake and we're going to blend all this together, just like the name implies. So on this time, I'm going to swirl to get rid of all those lines. And I like to leave little hints of white so it looks like the shadows are there. Did I say what color this is? It's dark crumb cake, and it's brand new. They make noise because I press really hard, as do my people. People who come to my live classes all tend to use them the same way I do, so there's lots of squeaking that goes on. If it bothers you, then just turn the volume down over the video. So there we have our little sloth. Now, now let's do the lemur. And for this one, I did shades of gray. So I have gray granite and smoky slate. You always start with the darkest. So let's do dark gray granite. Again, I'm just going to give him some highlights. Her. It's a her, because she reminds me of my kitten, like I said. We thought when we got her that we were saving a black kitten, because I don't know if you know this, black cats are always the last chosen in shelters. The main reason in this day and age is not because of the spooky factor, although that still plays a part in it, but it's because they don't photograph well. And we have learned that ours does not, it's hard to get her. All you see is eyes. So she appeared to be almost all black. She had a couple of white hairs on her tummy, but we thought those were like baby hairs. And the older she's gotten more black. Her coat is beautiful. But her tail is striped like a tiger or a lemur. Totally striped with gray and white. That's unusual, for, apparently, as we've learned, for a black cat to have that. So there's my granite, and now I'm just going to kind of fill it in with my light smoky slate to kind of blend these two colors together. And I think that light smoky slate, even though on cardstock it is a lighter color, in the blends until it dries, it does look a little darker, but that's okay. We just want her to look a little splotchy, like she has some fur. And then for her ears, we will get a pink, whichever pink I picked up. It is dark flirty flamingo, and I'm just gonna give it a little dab into her ears. And then we'll just do flamingo first on our, that would be bubble bath. So here's light flirty flamingo. This time I'm going to go over here. So I did on his little beak, I did all the light colors at the top, and then all the dark colors at the bottom to kind of just shade it that way. And I did let them have a little bit of separation. I didn't blend them all the way. So then is this lemon lolly? Yep. I didn't look at the colors. I just picked them from my little stand with what I thought would be the prettiest. So there's the dark lemon lolly. Light lemon lolly. And then pumpkin pie. So the beak does have some orange to it. Afterwards, I thought I probably should have pulled out Calypso, and you will notice that this is on vanilla. So it mutes the color of all of the blends just a bit. They'd be a little bit brighter. If you want a brighter card, you can do it on white. I switched the colors on the other one. I thought the flamingo might be a little bit more orange. This time I think her beak will look more orange that way. Then let's get the bubble bath, which I put over there and did not use for her tongue. So maybe that is kind of realistic. Then, like I said, I have absolutely no concept of what a toucan is, and I was too busy to go look it up, and I just wanted to use some fun colors. So the bird that herself we will make be blue. So I have dark balmy blue. Again, Pool Party, if you want it to be a little bit brighter. Balmy Blue on the white would be a little bit brighter. This is a little bit more subdued on the vanilla. And Pool Party has that tinge of green, but it would also be pretty. So I have that dark in there. And then we'll get it with, fill in some of it with the light. If you are new to blends and you start out on a tiny little image like this, it's a little bit harder to blend around. You really kind of want to start on the big images that have more space to work in. And then for his little bird breast, I'm going to do Berry Burst. And this time I'm going to kind of do like I did with the beak and do mostly dark down here. And then I'll fill it in with the light. On my other one, I realized when I was putting her on, her, I didn't add any color to her feet. So just a little highlight of pumpkin pie on her feet. And then we'll finish off the light. Okay, so I'll just show you what I mean. If you are coloring on a piece of scrap paper, when you lift this up, you would see ink all down here. And on this, it all stays in your paper. So you really use less blend ink than you do when you're coloring in scrap paper, and a lot of it's seeping through. So now let's cut all these things out. On here, I have our jungle. So I have chosen Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist, and then Crumb Cake. So let's cut these out. Like I said, I used all of them except for, I have this on top of the blend. That's not going to work. Except for the two that cut out the other two animals, and then there's that stem of leaves. I thought about doing it in Crumb Cake and in the green, and then adding the leaves over the top. But there's a lot going on this card. It didn't really need them. So we have those. So I've got the 3 outlines, and then I'll add the 2 flowers and cut these out. So to assemble this, I went with Mossy Meadow just for another green. And the reason I went with Mossy Meadow is because I had 2 sheets already cut card size laying on my table. So really any color, you could use brown, you could use one of the colors in the toucan. I was just trying to keep it the forest feel. So I have that. And then I ran a piece of 4 by 5 by 5 by 5. It's a little bit smaller, of Crumb Cake through the timber folder. That's in the annual catalog. And then, okay, well, we'll just start mounting it, and I'll show you everything as we go. So let's add. I'm using Seal Plus because I've been filming all those cards for my triad class, and I've used up all the seal. So I'm going to mount this over to the edge and then kind of in the middle. So we'll get the hints of Mossy Meadow, but it's not going to be like your card is Mossy Meadow. When you trim out the tree, it does not cut the edge. So you can see it gives you the edge. So now we have a much larger tree trunk than what that would appear. I saw in the catalog, it looks like they put this here and went back through. Right before I started filming, I'm like, how'd they get that? But that's how they did it. So if you want to have the wavies on the whole thing, if I put it on like this, it's fine. But I have my blend sitting here. So here's some of the other stuff that you can do with blends. I don't want it to be overtly colored. So I'm just going to give it some highlights, kind of barky. And I'm literally just going to put it on like this. And at first it's going to look awful. I'm just kind of going sideways on my paper with my blend tip. But as it starts to soak into the paper, it'll just give it a little bit of texture. Again, my blend isn't dry. I'm just barely touching. And get to the edges. Make sure you get all the way down there. This cuts a tree trunk that's longer than the imperial size of a card. It may be metric size for an A4, whatever card size would be that. So as this dries, it will kind of mudge in, and it just gives it a little bit of texture so you can notice it a bit more when we have it to our background. So I'm going to take this and I am going to add some dimensionals. And that way we'll be able to tuck everything else underneath it. So we have that. And then there's this piece here. I do have my proper tools sitting here, but sometimes, you know, if you just drop a die, it falls right out. So we have this. And the first time I did the card, I put it down here for like grass. But I was trying to keep everything more to the side except for the toucan and my sentiment. So I ended up, decide how you want to put this on here. This was already cut 5.5. So I just decided I would give it some extra leaves that were easy to add. So I'm just going to put them here. Just add a little bit of adhesive back on the side. And it's Seal Plus, so it doesn't have to, the whole strip doesn't have to be on there. It will hold it. Just have them peek out. So there's just enough on there to hold them on. And then we'll add this. I'm going to put it all the way to the side. So just a tiny bit of multi-meadow is out there. And then let's add our animals. And again, I'm going to use them on dimensional so I can tuck the rest of this stuff under. This is one of those cards that there isn't like necessarily an order to do it in as far as mounting and coloring, because we've still got some coloring to do, but we can go back and get that once all this stuff isn't all over my table. They're so sweet. They just make you smile when you see the little animals. So my toucan, my original thought, I'll tell you, was to put all of them on a branch. And then I realized that that made that side of the card just be far too heavy. So it got switched. And because they don't all go on a top branch, because our little sloth dude is hanging. So it kind of made it be off center. I probably could have done it if I had moved it more to the center. So all of everything happening on my card wasn't on the one edge. But I liked it this way. So we have the sloth hanging. We have our lemur climbing. And then we have our toucan walking. Then we have the rest of these leaves over here. And I realized when I was turning my camera on that I did these in the opposite color. Because I used my Seal Plus, it comes out in those little strips. You just got to stick those ones down. I mixed my greens. So this time, these are the granny apple and the other ones are the lemon lime twist. It doesn't matter. And I could have used 6 different greens if you want all of your greens to be different colors. Stick that under there. Just make sure I get them all, because last time I got ready to film and this one was still stuck in its die when I went to put it on there. So right before I turned my camera on, I filmed it. I mean, I added it. And I can go over. Get this one out on the end since there's nothing on. There's one more. So hopefully this time I got them all. All right, so we have our little flowers, and you can just add them if you want as vanilla flowers, but we have our blends here. So I am going to add some color, just some quick color, and I'm not getting any different ones. Whatever you just use to color your animals, you can use those again. I'm gonna use them a couple of times. So let's take these, and I'm just gonna give maybe a dab of orange. It does have some dimension cut into it, but I'm going to put an embellishment there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I can cover it up. The first time I tried to keep those so I could see them, and then it didn't matter, so I'm not doing that this time. And this one may be a little bit different than my first one. I'm just adding some color, and then let's grab one of the lemon lollies. And this time I will kind of blend them. So if you don't have the colors of green, you can cut everything out of vanilla and just color everything in with your blends. When you color in with blends, that I intentionally did it with that texture, but you can get it so it just looks like you used that color of cardstock. That looks good. So I'll have these. Whoops. And then I wanted something here for the sentiment. So I thought, do I stamp a tag? What do I do? But I am in love with this thing. And I know a lot of people with the hybrid folders, because I'll have a video pop up here so you can go back and watch it if you don't know how to do it. But you put this in, you lock it in, you put your paper in, and then when you fold it over, it cuts and embosses all of the sentiments at once, and you can pop them out. And I know a lot of people are worried that it's going to cut your folder, but I wanted to show you this because I have cut hundreds for my Try It class. And I think that maybe in VIP videos you got them. I can't remember. It's been a few days since I did those. But it is fine. It does have a little, I could clean it because for Try It we used gold foil. So some of the foil has stuck there, but literally cut over and over, and it does not damage that. So this is in the new January mini catalog. So I did them out of vanilla. So you could put them in vanilla if you wanted, and then I thought, oh, maybe I should change to black because it's kind of hard to see, but this is a fun card, so I decided we'd do something fun with it. And I'm just going to kind of show you what I did, but I'm not going to use Thinking of You because I kind of wanted it to be more a card that I could use for kids. So I took it upside down. And then let's grab my dark pebbled path. And I'm just going to do this thinking. So this is upside down. So there's a little well, like the D-boss of my words. So you just add that in there like that. And then when you flip it over, as it's soaked through, you can kind of see it. And then on the one that's on the card now, I stayed in kind of a camo tone of the colors that I used. The pebbled path. I'm trying to think of what colors were there. The pebbled path, the smoky slate, those, and I'll show you that one on the finished card. For the other one, I went all out rainbow and kind of went how my toucan is. So on it, I went over the top then after I had the back where you could kind of see it. So you just take your brush tip and then very, very lightly add some color. Like that. And those words then start to pop out. And then I took my, my color lifter, and anywhere where it was kind of in here in the middle, I just kind of lifted that out. It doesn't really take it away, but it lightens it. So it made my words pop a little bit more. So here is the one that says, "You make me happy." And like I said, on it, I went full on rainbow, but I haven't kind of lifted all of this out yet. You can just kind of play with them. You can definitely read it, I think, on camera. Sometimes when I design a card, I intentionally switch it because I know you guys aren't going to be able to see. But this is super cool in person. And so I wanted you to be able to see the technique so you can kind of play with it. So you can see as you kind of color lift that out, it just lightens the background. And then I did take my Wink of Stella and went on all of the words. I think that's getting it a little bit lighter back there. And I love to color with my blends. So for those of you that really love to blend, this will be right up your alley. So you can see on the back where I have that, where I did the pebbled path to give it dark. I thought about getting my black out because black would look okay on this card since we have the black ink. And then let's do this with dimensionals. So it's going to make this card look a little bit different than the other because this has color and the other one just has the more camo looking one, and I'm happy with both. Then for my embellishments, I thought about using these because these are in the January mini catalog and I haven't used them yet. They're sitting here from Try It class, but I wanted brighter colors than that, so I went with the glossy dot assortment from the annual catalog. And then I let's add a couple to the centers of our flowers. So I'll go pink on those. There's 3 different sizes of these. So we've got those, and then let's do a big yellow, and then mediums of the purple and the blue. So we have 5. You want an odd number, but because we have the 2 flowers, it made it easy to do 2 of that same color. It's not the way I did it on my other one. Isn't it cute? And here's the other one, a little bit more subdued, but I kind of love the camo feel to that one. But overall, the cards will be about the same. Oh, I did also on this one, well, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it before I take the picture, so you can go to the website and see. I added some Wink of Stella to everything, but just brushed it on. I'll go ahead and do it because it's beautiful. So it just gives a little bit of highlights. As long as you Wink of Stella on things like this, less is more. Because if you color the whole thing, then you lose the fact that it's highlighting something. So kind of, yeah, the beak, get some on the flower petals. And brush a little bit more in there. There, I said I would add it later. I love the color with Wink of Stella. Get all this out of the way. There you go. So there's some more celebration items for you. Let me know in the comments which of these you like better. So hopefully you can see it on camera. Everybody have a great day, and I'll catch you back here later. Bye.